So this week, one of YouTube's best prank channels, at least I say best in the way that they didn't completely sell out and become annoying cornballs like people like Vitali and others who start making content about like racism and essentially just harassing random people. Ross Creations has decided to ruin their career, essentially speed running it, nuking it straight into the ground as they decided to commit animal for a YouTube short. And it's honestly really sad. These guys started their YouTube career about 9 years ago, and since then haven't really been involved in any sort of controversy this bad that like all sides can agree is just absolutely horrific, right? Like some of their most popular videos you've probably seen, like they wired a treadmill onto a little vehicle and then drove around, and then when people were running, he would like run off screaming like like they make funny stupid content that like nobody really gets hurt about, and they quickly apologize if like things get a little farther than they really wanted to, filling my PC with beans, secretly controlling people's computer, secretly ordering for people in the drive-thru, right? Like these are just completely harmless pranks, and almost everyone on the internet just agreed that this guy was just the perfect example of how you can just be a goofy, silly prank channel. You know, you can be someone like the Impractical Jokers just as a YouTube channel and succeed doing so until he decided to launch an opossum into space. And surprisingly, this video is still up on Instagram. I'm not sure why. I would have assumed that this guy would just take the L, take the video down, apologize, maybe donate to some sort of animal wildlife foundation. But no, the video is still up. I'm going to censor it, but you guys can use your common sense and knowledge to kind of understand why people are angry. It says Opossum Launcher, and all Ross Creations put was W as the captions.
Oh, what do we got here? A possum. You are going to Mars. Yes. Oh my God! Bam! He just walks away. Oh man.
So in that video, you could hear that huge, that thud. That was the opossum hitting the ground at like full speed. You even see the possum bounce after it hits the ground. And Ross's response is, oh, he just walks away. Yeah, maybe because he's dying. Maybe because he probably just ruptured all of his organs, slapping into the ground at like 5,000, freaking miles a second from being launched thanks to your stupid little contraption. Maybe that's why he just walks away, which again, in this clip is more like a limp. Like, this creature literally like is still for a few seconds and it just kind of slowly starts hobbling away, and you can't even really tell because the short is just that short. Like you can't tell how this animal is doing life-wise, like if it even knows it's still alive. Even bragging about it, saying possum enjoys a trip to Mars. I guess that title of the video was removed, rightfully so, but yeah, a possum got inside of a little catapult that just launched it straight up in the air. Now, Ross's Instagram post actually ended up getting a community note, which kind of like the way Twitter or X uses community notes is a way for people to add context. And they added context that under Florida Statute 828.12, Ross committed animal cruelty. And if we pull up the actual 2025 Florida statute for this specific law of cruelty to animals, you can see that a person who unnecessarily overloads, overdrives, torments, deprives of necessary sustenance or shelter, unnecessarily mutilates or kills any animal, or causes the same to be done or carries in or upon any vehicle or otherwise any animal in a cruel or inhumane manner commits animal cruelty. A misdemeanor of the first degree, punishable as provided in this number, or by a fine of not more than 5,000 or both. And if we scroll down to 2A, it says a person convicted of a violation of this subsection where the finder of fact determines that the violation includes the knowing and intentional torture or torment of an animal that injures, mutilates, or kills the animal shall be ordered to pay a minimum mandatory fine of $2,500 and undergo psychological counseling or complete an anger management treatment program. Now, you can't deny this. You can't pretend that he didn't know what was going to happen, right? Like he didn't It wasn't intentional. Like you knew what you were doing, right? You specifically created this opossum launcher. You didn't know what was going to happen, right? Like imagine you made something called a child launcher and you launched the child up and just watch what would happen when it comes down and bonks its head, right? That's exactly what he did just with an opossum. Something that he must have just considered to be some random animal. Like, oh, if it happens, right? Kind of makes you wonder, like, sure, in this specific video, the opossum just walked away from what we saw, but let's say the animal landed and just exploded, right? It just instantly splats. Do you think he would have uploaded this video still? Do you think that at any point he would have still put this video on Instagram with a big W and claimed that this was just some funny prank? Again, a lot of people are just angry about this because it seems like we're seeing a lot of animal situations on the internet, right? Like Hassan with the whole dog collar thing. Imaru got exposed for like having rabbits and treating them pretty poorly. You had someone like Rakai who bought a turkey essentially to just torment it with a bunch of his followers and friends. And now you have someone like Ross Creations, who people consider to be just a very friendly, funny, goofy content creator who would just make lighthearted little pranks with people where in the end of the day no one was ever hurt by it, everyone laughed it off. Oftentimes he would give them money, you know, he'd hire computer technician people to come look at his computer and he filled the computer with beans, right? Like harmless, silly, goofy pranks where he would oftentimes just pay the people for their troubles and for, you know, bringing them out of the house for something that silly, to now animal cruelty on video, still up to this day with a big W on it for almost ending the life of a poor animal who did nothing. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know what an opossum is. Of course, it's this cute little animal, right? They're pretty safe animals for the most part. From what I've heard, they don't get rabies very easy, and you can oftentimes find these bad boys just kind of sitting around in places. Personally, when I used to live in Virginia, I found a lot of these little guys just in my yard, right? My dogs would like play with them and look at them because they would just kind of, if they get injured, oftentimes, unfortunately, they would pass away, but they would just kind of end up in a yard and the mom or the parent of the baby would just leave it somewhere, right? And so I would find these bad boys. One time one ended up in my house and it was kind of cute. It was kind of funny. We had to like put it in a trash bag, put outside and like dump it off there, but it was cool. But essentially, these animals are not very strong. They're very fragile. So surely you could understand why choosing to launch one straight into the air, God knows how many feet, unfortunately to come down to meet its end, would not be a good idea. Now, I actually wanted to do a little bit of research, right? And I asked how durable are opossums to falls, right? Like we all know different animals, like we all know the meme that like cats have 9 lives, they can fall crazy amounts and just walk off like nothing happened. But I guess opossums vary because of course baby opossums are much more fragile. And we also know that possums do not have access to calcium, right? So if calcium isn't in their bones, isn't in their diet, then they're going to have very weak bones. So you can imagine a possum being shot up 50 feet in the air and landing is not going to be good on their bones. They're going to crack their bones, break something. And they do not live very long after they break something. There's not exactly a lot of nurses and doctors just walking around wildlife looking for opossums that are injured. Unfortunately, this animal is probably not going to live. That's just my opinion based on things I can easily research and look up online. Now, I could understand why Ross Creations, if possibly thought, oh, we're just going to launch it like 1 foot, right? It would just kind of, a little jump would be kind of funny. Okay, haha, it would still be weird. It would still be animal abuse, but then you wouldn't be ending the life of the animal, right? But just essentially launching it up to meet its doom is tragic. It's very horrible, and it's very horrific to see someone who, again, has stayed out of drama and trouble for quite some time, stayed out of, you know, people's radar of a bad creator or controversy, only to decide to throw it away for something this idiotic. And for example, you have comments like this guy, bro, this ain't it, 12,000 likes. This main video by Ross only has 32,000 likes, so literally 1/3 of people disagree with this content. That's just off of one comment. Been following for a while, but I can't support this. I'm out. Unfollowed button. You are almost a good person. There's something deeply wrong with you if you find this funny. And I think that's where I'm going to wrap up the video, guys. I want to know your thoughts on the situation. I don't like this situation. I'm very upset about this. I don't like the fact that a creator I've been watching for years, right? The second Ross uploads a video, I click it, watch it, laugh, have a good time, showed the videos to my friends and family, is now committing animal cruelty. And the video is still up to this day. This is not one of those things where it's like Logan Paul or someone that's already like a really hated creator who's done something and it's kind of like whatever, expected that. This is something completely unexpected from someone I really enjoyed, from someone that the internet really enjoyed. And it sucks. I really can't support him if this is what he's done. We all make mistakes. You know, accidents happen, big or small. And the fact he hasn't apologized or like put a statement out or anything about this is really disappointing. And that's just my opinions. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.